I don't remember whose turn it is. Jastin, I think?
I believe so, yeah.
All right, Jastin, A through Z.
How about an S?
In some surprising news, Dick Van Dyke turned 99 this week.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
I'm not going to lie. I thought he died 3 years ago. And then all of a sudden he's 99. I was like, well, I guess I was wrong. So, congrats, Dick Van Dyke, for being old as fuck.
I mean, he's still like, he doesn't look 99. I mean, he looks old, but I don't know if I'd say 99.
That motherfucker looks 127.
All right, maybe I'm mistaken. To me, he doesn't, but fair.
I mean, that crypt keeper looks like he could be his child. I'm being mean. I'm being mean to Dick Van Dyke.
Man, that's just a name I haven't heard in a long time, but it just immediately took me back to the days of Nick at Night where I used to hear his name all the time. So, and just like those reruns that they would do, and you would always hear Dick Van Dyke, watch it at this time because they would rerun his show and stuff. So that was just immediately what came to mind when you said that. But man, I haven't heard that name in such a long time. Wow.
I immediately thought
a splash of nostalgia for me, I guess.
I immediately thought of Diagnosis Murder. I've seen an obscene amount of Diagnosis Murder. I have seen more Diagnosis Murder than probably any person should. I don't know why, but seen a lot of it.
I will take it back. I just saw a recent picture of him. You know what? I think I was just seeing older pictures and didn't realize they were older pictures. But still a lovely man, I'm sure.
No, I saw that picture of his family and him on his 99th. He doesn't look a day younger than 200.
He's earned it. Let him look how he looks.
Hey, you do you, Dick Van Dyke. You've done better than most human beings in history. So.
Right?
In other S news, apparently, according to Heather, Stranger Things Season 5 is done filming and should be coming out sometime in the next 27 years.
Yes. They said 2025, but not when in 2025.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I guess in a final piece of S news, Jastin, you picked the perfect letter. We got so much S news.
I guess I did.
A teaser for the new Superman movie, the James Gunn directed Superman movie. Superman. Oh fuck! What's it? What's the? I keep wanting to say For Tomorrow, but that's just a comic book. Superman. Superman. Why the fuck? I thought it was called something. I thought there was a colon to it.
Nope. Maybe originally, but right now it's not.
You were right. It is just Superman. Yeah. A new teaser for that came out. And I'll say this. In the year 2024, we got Madam Web. We got Venom 3. And we got Kraven the Hunter, whatever the fuck this movie's called. I'm pretty excited about that Superman. That looked really nice. I mean, my only worry would be that it could be a little busy because they are showing so many characters. You got that Guy Gardner Green Lantern, you got that Hawk Girl, you got that what's his name? Mr. Terrific, I think. You've got Metamorpho, you've got Crypto, Superman. You've got there's just even in the teaser, there's a lot of characters. Oh, Lex Luthor. Can't forget no Lex Luthor. But you know, I'm optimistic as fuck though, because it just looked nice. It looked like probably the most comic accurate yet fresh Superman I've seen in a long time. And that guy, I don't remember his name, but he looks fine as Superman. But he looks amazing as Clark Kent. You know, he looked definitively like that just looks like a Clark Kent. I've never really sat and thought about what does a Clark Kent look like. And then I saw that man and I'm like, how Clark Kentian of him. So I mean, I'm optimistic about that. Which is kind of saying a lot because I don't think I've ever really been excited about anything Superman. I mean, I loved Smallville back in the day, but I don't think I was like, I mean, I gave that show a lot of shit before I actually watched it. It had been on for a couple of years before I started watching it. And I was dogging it. And then a friend of ours, Dustin, he's like a huge Superman fan, and you know, he got me into Smallville, and yeah, I loved that show and everything, but I don't know if I ever got excited about it. This legitimately looks like this could be some fun. And Nicholas Hoult looked amazing as Lex.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, and I really like Nicholas Hoult as an actor. I think that, I mean, and it's nothing against Jesse Eisenberg, the last Lex Luthor that I saw, but I just feel like the caliber we're looking for in a Lex Luthor could be pulled off by Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I guess coincidentally I had Superman on the brain because recently on HBO Max that documentary on Christopher Reeve's Superman was released, and I didn't get to see that when it came. I don't even know if it came over here to theaters in my part of the woods, but I wanted to see that. That was one of those that I just kept the mental note and was like, I'm gonna watch that when I get the chance. So when I saw that it was on HBO Max, and I think it came either last week or the week before that, it hasn't been on HBO Max very long. So I watched that. And after watching that, you know, I just walked away from that with Superman on the brain a little bit. And if you haven't seen that documentary, I highly recommend it. It was very enlightening, and there was a lot of stuff about Christopher Reeve I didn't know. They talk about the Superman movies and everything like that. So it definitely provides a perspective about all of that I didn't know. But one thing that I can say walking away from the documentary is that it embodied a lot of the things that Superman actually is. You know, it was very hopeful, and it was just positive, and it was kind of encouraging and motivating. And that's what I've always known Superman to be. Like Superman is just a weird, it's kind of got an interesting place with me because that was really like the first ever superhero that I was obsessed about. Like, I loved Superman when I was a kid. You know, I was that stereotypical kid that would tie your jacket behind, you know, around your neck and pretend it's a cape and go flying around. And man, I don't even want to ask my parents how many Superman action figures they bought me over the years or Superman products, lunch boxes, and all kinds of stuff that I had over the years. And the interesting thing is that as I grew older, I don't want to say I grew out of Superman, but you know, you meet new friends, you meet new people, and the people I met were like, yeah, well, Superman's cool, but man, there are cooler superheroes. You ought to check out Spider-Man. You ought to check out this guy. You ought to check out the X-Men. You ought to check out that. So, you know, I guess my fandom gravitated to other people, but I never forgot about Superman. And when I went back and read some of his comic book stories, because I was more of a toy guy, cartoons guy. You know, I was growing up watching a lot of that as a kid, but I wasn't really reading his stories. And when I was older, I think I appreciated more of his stories in the comic books. And one thing I can say about just watching this preview, I didn't recognize all of the actors. I don't follow very many of these people. You know, there are some I recognize, there are some I didn't. But one thing I can say about that preview is that it felt like Superman. It had this aura of hope about it. It had this aura of positivity about it. It had this aura of fun about it. And that has been missing from the Superman content we've been getting. Like, and I think at some point, because we felt like we had to make him so cool, and I'll, you know, put that in quotes, or so dark, or so like of today's times, which people just tend to gravitate to the somber and like brooding and sulky negative shit. I feel like people felt like, oh, Superman needs to be that way in a way. But the best Superman is the opposite of those things. The best Superman is a positive Superman. The best Superman is a hero. The best Superman is a symbol of hope. So if we're going that direction, and it definitely felt like that's the direction we're going, then I believe that this movie, it will be in the right direction. It doesn't feel that a lot of time with this is going to be spent doing an origin story. I don't think they're redoing an origin story in this. It feels like it's going to pick up, and we already know who Superman is, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. Let's talk about some of the super friends and these other super people and all of these other people that are involved in the DC universe. And so I think all of those things feel like good things. And James Gunn has been very good about groups of characters. Like, we know this from the Suicide Squad, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and everything like that. So yeah, you see all these characters and you wonder, is it going to be too much for this? But if anybody can juggle all of those things or understands how to tell a cohesive narrative with several different characters, and somehow you can wind up caring about all of them in a 2.5 hour movie, it's him. So I feel like, just based on the vibes of this movie and based on the track record of the person in charge, you know, in leadership of this, it all feels like positive things. So I'm hopeful for it. And being that it's Superman, I feel like that's exactly where I need to be.
And you bring up a fair point with that, Justin. Like I said, I can see a worry, like I said, of it being very busy. But it really depends on how you use these other characters. Are they, fully fledged out side characters, or are they existing characters to just kind of show how big the universe is? Do they play smaller roles in this, but important enough roles, like I said, to show like a bigger universe when it's all said and done? Like, if you're not doing an origin story and you're just going, hey, here is the DC universe, but this story is focused on Superman. Yeah, it makes sense that there are other heroes around in this universe, but this is still a Superman story. But yeah, I agree. Cause I mean, as there's been a few interesting, alternate Superman stories out there, but like, how many of them are just, what if Superman was bad? What if Superman was evil? What if Superman just was Superman, but also was really, dark? And it's, that's fine for a time, but like, if your criticism is that, Superman is the Boy Scout or whatever, and all of those things, which he is typically, labeled as, and all this other stuff, and you criticize him for essentially being one note for that, the counter to it, always the dark, the gritty, the bad or whatever Superman also becomes one note too. If you're just doing the 180-degree opposite version of him all the time, that's one note also. So if your criticism is that he's always good, but the alternate version is always, the bad guy version, you're just as one note, but I kind of agree with you, Jastin. Like, you can have Superman be a symbol of hope. That doesn't mean it has to be a boring, simple, I always do the right thing movie. You don't have to have him be a Boy Scout to be a symbol of hope. Because sometimes it's the flaws in a character that actually inspire hope. It's the imperfections. It's those types of things that can be inspiring. It's why I'm so sick and tired of like the biopic shit. They sanitize the fuck out of everything, but they want you to be inspired by the story. It's like, well, you sanitize the fuck out of it. Because sometimes seeing somebody fall, but then also, come back is the inspiring part. That's why I loved Rocket Man so much. Because they were like, yeah, he's an amazing piano player and all these other things, but the man did so many drugs. And they're like, he did drugs. And if he saw a drug, he did it. But then it's like, then you get the story of him like quitting and growing and moving past that aspect of his life. And I feel like there's Superman stories out there that you can do. I'm not saying he has to do drugs, but I'm just saying like he can just not be perfect and still finding his way. Cause then that's also when you it's one of the best things in most Superman stories. Like when Superman has a crisis of faith and the kids inspire him to, retake, that mantle and all those things. Like those are always some of the best things in most Superman stories are his reconnection to humanity through the Kents. And, like, I don't know. I can't wait to see that in this. It looks, we see a scene with him and Pa Kent. We see them talking on a farm porch or whatever it is. But, no words in that scene. But I think we'll hopefully we get a nice blend of that stuff.
Yeah. And I liked reusing the old Superman theme, which I still think is like the greatest superhero theme, but I like how they slowed it down a bit and did some stuff with guitar. And, it really just added to what they were doing. And just some of his actions, like when you see him run in front of that lady to protect her from something, or, there were just parts that definitely felt Superman like. And like some of the best stories I've read of Superman is not really about, well, he's a Boy Scout or he has all this power, but it's the struggle of how to use his power, like the struggle of what to do with it, the struggle of what's the right decision to make, the struggle of how this person who is unlike us can function in this world full of us. So, and how he's different, but there's a part of him that just also too wants to be accepted, and understanding where he fits in all of this. And so if you can, so there are a lot of appealing stories you can tell with Superman where, and it's kind of fat, and that's kind of in a way what makes him unique, because he's a person with all these powers, but he's just trying to function. And it's all about trying to figure out how to utilize and balance his life the right way. And sometimes if you have other heroes involved, you can play around with all these different dynamics, because now there are other heroes he can look at and bounce ideas off of, or heroes are bouncing ideas off of him, or other heroes are reacting to what he's doing. And there seemed to be a part in there where the public seemed angry with him about something. People were throwing stuff at him and stuff. So, it just piqued my curiosity. Oh, I wonder what that's about. What happened there? Did we try to save someone and we didn't? Or did he make a decision and it wound up being, and maybe he thought it was right, but it wound up being wrong in the public eye? Just the wheels started turning when I was watching the scenes. So it just made me a little more excited. I didn't see something that felt like it was trying to be too cool. It felt like something that was trying to be fun, And when Crypto the Super Dog showed up, I was like, oh, damn, okay. And even the way the preview started, it didn't start with him flying around in outer space or standing there with his chest out looking triumphant. The first thing we see is him in the ground bleeding like he's been getting his ass whooped. So even James Gunn's decision to start this teaser with him in a state of vulnerability says something to me. Like, it feels like somebody is really thinking about this shit. And for somebody like me, who, when I watch a movie, I think about so many things like that and how it relates to the story, how it's all going to go. Like, I'm just seeing a lot of things that make me feel like it's going to be good. I'm already seeing a lot of good decisions made, and hopefully the film itself winds up being a good decision.
Also, just one scene that I just loved in the trailer too was there's just that scene where he's holding Lois and they're doing the whole like floating straight up thing. It's just one of those things where, is it important, or is it this, or is it any deep thing? Probably not, but it's kind of just an iconic piece of Superman imagery. So it's just nice to see that, like, just that nice little Superman image. It's always nice. Mm-hmm. But also shout out to Absolute Superman, which is a fantastic series in the comic books. If you want new Superman that's not your dad's Superman, or your grandma's Superman, or your great grandmother's Superman, he's been around for a very long time. Absolute Superman's fantastic. Reimagining the character, he didn't come here as a kid, came here as a teenager, and it's fantastic. It really is. Because it's not just, hey, what if Superman was a bad guy? It's just, what if Superman just didn't grow up here the whole time? It's a small change. It's not this or that or whatever. It's just like, what if he didn't grow up here the whole time? What if, he's not as heavily influenced by the Kents? What if he, actually grew up knowing his mother and father? So it's really great. I really recommend it. All of it so far, all the absolutes. Absolute Batman's fantastic. Absolute Wonder Woman's just, to me, the tops. I love the Absolute Wonder Woman story. I know I've mentioned it before, but it's fantastic, people. Anything else on Superman?
I mean, just in general, I love just the tone of the trailer. Like it feels like the kind of like what Jastin alluded to, the tone of it. Just, it feels very Superman. It feels very like epic and iconic. And I think that, yeah, like it got me excited for Superman as well. I'm pretty indifferent. Like I'm fine with Superman. I'm not like I'm the hugest fan, but I don't dislike it. You know, like I don't dislike Superman. So I think it'll be interesting to see this take. I'm also looking forward to like just seeing the cast of people that they have in this. Like they've got some good people, and the guy playing Superman has been in so many things that it just never like a main character. He's always just kind of played smaller parts, I think, in bigger stuff. And apparently Alan Tudyk is going to be in this. I'm curious about that. And then
isn't he Perry White?
No, Alan Tudyk? No, that's actually Wendell Pierce.
Oh, Wendell. Oh, yeah. No, I won't complain
Even
about
better.
Wendell Pierce being in anything.
But it's also funny because the guy playing Jimmy Olsen is Skylar Gisondo, who is I mean, you've seen his face everywhere, I think, but it's just the fact that he perpetually looks like he's 13, and I'm sure he's like at least 30 at this point. But I think that that's a good choice to play that character. And we get young Rhaenyra as Supergirl. So I just think it's a great list of people. It just seems like it's going to be great.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can't believe I did not know that Bunk was going to be Perry White. That's just fantastic. I wonder if he's going to say fuck.
But also, like, the dude, I always forget his name, the guy that plays Pa Kent in this. I love that dude. Like, everything I've seen him in, he's a really good actor, but he's also kind of just a character actor, I think, for the most part. But I'm excited because I saw that and I was like, oh, that guy, that's going to be really good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
one last thing I wanted to add real quick was just a quick comment to what you said, though, Jastin. Also, what an ingenious thing just to do just an ever so slight variation on that John Williams score. It's just, that's genius. Just because, like, I'm not the biggest fan of the old Superman movies, but you might be right, Jastin, when it comes to iconic superhero song. You know, that John Williams Superman is just one of the all-timers. That I think Danny Elfman's Batman stuff is up there because they also used it for the animated series. And I think that's actually where it works better, is in Batman the Animated Series than it did in the movies, because that intro song to Batman the Animated Series, which is, like I said, it's the Danny Elfman stuff, but it fits a little too perfectly in that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And as much as we've joked about it, it weirdly works, though. That dumb, stupid fucking guitar riff for Wonder Woman still kind of works, though.
Oh, I love that thing.
But you have to admit it's dumb. It is dumb. But it fits. It works. I remember
it's powerful and kind of, I don't know, primal, or I don't know what the word is.
But is that not also the most?
I feel something. You don't like
exactly.
Feel
it
you
works.
Don't feel like
though.
jumping or something when you hear it.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking, oh man, Wonder Woman
on someone.
Wonder Woman, the champion of the Amazonians. I'm not thinking heavily distorted heavy metal guitar. You know,
but when you hear it, you don't just want to just run and jump on someone.
Oh no, like I said,
the person in front of you, you just want to run and just jump on them.
Well,
That's what
I
it feels
no,
like.
I'm not disagreeing with that because I'm saying it's dumb, but it's almost perfect. It is hands down the most iconic musical element of any of the Zack Snyder stuff. I don't think anybody remembers a single note of anything else in any of those movies, but you weirdly remember the Wonder Woman one. You know, that's it. You know, as like I said, as dumb as it is, it's up there in top 3 iconic superhero themes to me, though, just because I'm not going to shake it.
It's effective. Yeah.
You know, and I guess, you know, even though, like I said, I've been calling it dumb, you said it, Heather, it's effective. And in the end, is that not the goal? Like when you hear that John Williams score, you instantly think of Superman. When I hear that dumb guitar riff, I think of Wonder Woman. Hands down. So
Gal Gadot standing there smiling and shit.
Yeah, with her shield and like, you know, and the drums come in like, yeah. So it's perfect. It really is. But it's also dumb. But perfect. Perfectly dumb. I guess one last thing. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm kind of avoiding going into the movie.
I don't see why that is. We just talked about a movie that has a good cast, and we're going to transition right into something with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Ariana DeBose and Russell Crowe. I mean, this has a great cast too, so it's got to be good, right?
This is probably the most disappointing great cast ever. And so, no, I don't want to talk about it. I really just want Cinefans to weigh in on one last thing real quick. Which is, has anyone ever roasted or eaten a chestnut? I need to know. Because I don't think anyone actually ever has.
Have you done it, Heather?
Negative.
What about when you were young, like in your youth?
Child Heather. Heather also has never roasted chestnuts.
What?
Yeah, sorry.
I just want to know if anyone ever actually has. There's so many songs and themes and quotes about people doing it. I've just never actually seen it or heard of it actually being done. Because everybody's like, oh, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Never happened in humanity. I don't actually think chestnuts exist.
What do you put on them after you roast them? Like,
I would assume,
is there a sauce that you use? Or
well, I would
just eat them?
You don't typically roast nuts with a sauce. I would assume, though, that you probably at least maybe lightly salt them. If they actually exist. I'm not convinced chestnuts are a real thing. I think they're right up there with red-nosed reindeers as just a product of Christmas lore.
I just now am curious. Like, I just want to see Jastin, like, using some kind of sauce with his roasted chestnuts. See, like, what kind of concoction you come up with there.
If chestnuts are real, Justin, I also want you to try them because I think it'd be hilarious if they're nasty. And you're like, man, look at these roasted chestnuts.
I mean, they can't taste that bad. I mean, people sing about it. It can't be that bad.
But that's the thing, Justin. People sing about it, but no one actually does it. So they could be that bad.
It might be a delectable delicacy that we just have been missing out on.
What if chestnuts are just never meant to be eaten? They're just meant to like roast because they smell nice, but they taste awful. So you just roast them to make your house smell like winter, but you don't actually eat them. Kind of like potpourri.
Man, it makes me want to put a feeler out on my social media like, who is eating roasted chestnuts?
I almost don't think you should do that, Jastin, because there's just going to be some motherfucker out there that's just going to be like, I have Jastin notice me.
Or it's just going to be a bunch of my friends with jokes like, why you worried about eating nuts and all of that kind of stuff? It's just going to be a bunch of that probably. Knowing the people I follow, it'll probably just be a bunch of that. Why you trying to roast some nuts?
I remember when I was a young man and didn't know any better, and I used
saying.
to say things like that to you.
Yeah.
And I remember when I grew up.
Still don't. I have people there that still don't.
I used to be vicious with that shit. I think one of the funniest things that anybody ever observed about it was probably same Superman friend Dustin. When one time he was like, man, I just don't understand why you treat Jastin like that. Jastin will just be sitting there like, I like strawberries. And then Sterling will just sit there and go, yeah, because you're gay. And I'm like, I don't do that with everything Jastin does. And he's like, Sterling, you do. I was like, oh, maybe I do.
Different time, man. Because I just don't at all picture you being somebody that would say that now. But yeah.
I used to say it all the time to Jastin. All the fucking time. It was absurd.
And I never really understood it. I don't understand where that came from or what
I don't even know why I did that either.
To make you, like, it was always just this weird thing where I'd be like, where did that come from? Like, what did I do?
I don't know. The sad thing is we have known each other long enough for that literally to be some decades ago that I used to do that and I stopped. Like, it was decades ago I've done it, and it's been well over a decade plus since I've even last done it. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of crazy. Because I was thinking about it the other day. Yeah, I probably met you about like 22 years ago right now.
It's been a while.
Because it would have been between Thanksgiving and Christmas of 2002. Because that's when I was started working at the theater.
Your friendship is legally an adult +1. Or drinking age +1.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, that is kind of crazy that it was literally decades ago that I did that. And it's been well over a decade since I stopped. Because I mean, I've been up here for over 11 years now. So God, it would probably be 15 or 16 years ago since the last time I was making those jokes at you. I stopped making those jokes a high schooler ago. The 2000s were a wild time. Those early aughts, wild time. God, I'm glad I grew the fuck up.
Jastin's like, me too.
I bet. But yeah, I'm just like, oh man, that's crazy. And it really is crazy that there are people that still just do that now. They just still do that. And they're like my age. And they do that shit still. That's crazy. I just don't know where I would be if I still had the same sense of humor I had when I was fucking 20. Wild times. Do we really have to talk about Kraven?
Well, at some point we got to stop talking about chestnuts. So might as well get to it.
But I get that. We could stop talking about chestnuts. I'm just asking, do we have to talk about Kraven?
We've put in the work for it. Therefore, let's go with it.
Do we have to for some catharsis to purge our souls of Kraven?
You know what? Before we do that, though, we should be more confident in the roasted chestnuts. I mean, we like roasted almonds. We like roasted peanuts. I mean, all of those roasted nuts taste good. So why wouldn't roasted chestnuts taste good too? You eat all of those. You eat
Because-
all those other roasted nuts. It's just another roasted nut.
Because there are things that just taste different than other things.
Are chestnuts bigger than almonds?
I don't think they're real. I don't know their fictional lore size.
Does anybody do this anymore? Is the song so dated that nobody does it? Maybe the song is just a popular Christmas song, but people doing that is dated. Maybe people don't do it anymore, but they used to or something, you know? I wonder, maybe it's something like that.
I feel like was it last year maybe that we were like looking this up and like I was trying to figure out what they actually are, what they look like. I think we did that last year.
I'm just saying, I think the last time a human being even saw a chestnut, Dick Van Dyke had not been born.
But you know what? On a quick Google search, asking if people do actually roast chestnuts, it is a beloved tradition in Italy and for Italian Americans. So, and then it tells you how to roast them. A broiling temperature for about 30 to 40 minutes in the oven. So, there you go, Jastin.
The chestnuts look huge in this picture.
I know a lot of Italian people, and I've never once even heard them reference a chestnut. If they're that big, why doesn't Olive Garden serve them in December?
I guess you got a point. I don't know, just casually bring it up to one of your Italian friends and just see they
I'll reach out to my ex-wife.
Like, oh yeah, we be chestnutting. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll like I said, I'll reach out to my ex-wife. Her family's all Italians. Like this Christmas, they're going to be eating mostaccioli. You know.
Sorry, I did go on a little rabbit trail with it. The chestnuts were synonymous with Christmas in the United States before the melody hit airwaves. They were one of the most popular ingredients in American dishes throughout the 18th and 19th century.
Which goes back to my point is no human beings ate them since Dick Van Dyke was born.
Well, because this article is talking about like why that tradition is nearly extinct. And it says, but a blight caused the American chestnut tree, once the most predominant tree in the country, to go almost extinct.
Thank God for disease and blights. Which also, why do trees get such a cool name for a disease? Because trees get blights. We get viruses. They get blights.
That's true. I agree with that.
Man, I'm so curious about them. I wish there was a place I could go and you could just try it. There's nowhere where they do this.
Well, I don't know if there's anywhere where you could just still go watch them be roasted, but I'm just going to try this right now. I'm on Amazon. Yeah, you can just order some fucking chestnuts.
Do it. Jastin, I need a report on this. I want to know.
Jastin, they are so expensive. For a pack of roasted and peeled chestnuts, for a 12-pack of them, it is $40 fucking for a 12-pack of fucking chestnuts.
Because it's coming from Italy. It's coming from somewhere else.
There's a 420 gram of chestnuts from France that come in a jar for $19. It's just a jar of chestnuts for $20.
Are they good?
Oh, Jastin, I can get you some fresh and raw Italian chestnuts for only $35 for a bag of them.
A bag? A is in one.
This is absurd. But you know what, Jastin? We are going to get you some fucking chestnuts.
Consider it a holiday treat.
Oh, here we go.
Man, I'm gonna roast the shit out of them.
Do you
find somewhere to roast?
Do you want them roasted or do you want them raw?
Do you want to do the roasting or do you want them pre-roasted?
Oh man, where am I gonna get where am I gonna find a fire? Yeah, I guess roasted would be easier. Then I could just eat them and.
Justin just working hard for these roasted chestnuts, just slaving away, trying to like roast them.
I'm gonna call my folks tomorrow. Y'all ever had roasted chestnuts?
And they're gonna say, no, Jastin, we're less than 100 years old. The last person that did that is older than Dick Van Dyke. That would be just so hilarious if your mom just if your mom just goes, no, I'm not Dick Van Dyke's age.
She'll go, are we 200 years old? But why was this even a thing? And I wonder, it feels like an annoying task.
Yeah, because you have to peel and roast them.
Yeah, like this feels like a lot of work. Why would they do this? On top of everything else. And you need a fire, and you're doing it during Christmas time, so it's winter time. So you need a fire, or like this feels like a lot of work.
Well, and we don't even know if they taste good.
Yeah.
All right, but Jastin, so next episode, you're going to have to report back to us on chestnuts, because on Sunday, sir, you have some chestnuts delivered.
You really hoarded them?
Yeah.
I thought you were joking.
No. On Sunday.
Well,
this
then I
Sunday,
got to do it then.
I only got you a 4-pack of packaged chestnuts, but you got to let us know how chestnuts taste.
Okay. I will. I will report. I will do it.
Also, just one last little small, tiny baby tangent before we move on. So Taco Bell just came out with some chicken nuggets. And so they're breaded with tortilla chips, right? But you can get a 10-pack of them for 670 calories. But it has 72 grams of protein.
Oh.
For a 10-pack of nugs.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Those are ungodly macros. For a 10-pack. And I've had them. They're not that bad. They're really not.
Really?
They're not that bad.
Wow, Taco Bell's in the nugget game now.
Dude.
It's so strange.
Especially, like I said, with those, that's unheard of. That's obscene macros, people.
That's very forward thinking, though. They know people are all into the proteins and stuff. It's kind of smart, actually.
Yeah. And like I said, and then on top of that, they actually taste pretty good. I mean, Wendy's is up there. Wendy's nugs are classic. McDonald's has one of the most iconic chicken nuggets out there. But Taco Bell nuggets aren't bad, people. Don't sleep on them. And you can get them with the side of nacho fries if you so want. I'm just saying, you get 20-piece chicken nuggets. Oh, man. That's like a weightlifter's dream.
Yeah.
Coming out under 1,400 calories and 144 grams of protein. Holy shit. That's absurd.
Wow. Macros like that might put your naked tenders to shame. I know that's very tempting. Might have to give them a shot. And I don't like anything about Taco Bell, but maybe they have something I finally, You know, oh, you went to Taco Bell? Yeah, I go there for the nuggets.
Also, yeah, that's the weird. You go there for the nuggets, the nugs. And dude, they were announced, and I just saw them. I was like, I have to try these. I have to. They're pretty good.
Man, I was looking around trying to find that Reese's Pieces lava or whatever. Have you seen that?
No, what is that?
It's a Reese's Pieces, but like there's chocolate. You know how they have of course you know about all the other ones, like how there's a caramel one and there's but this one, I just saw a commercial and it was like Reese's Pieces with lava. And you know, like how a lava cake, I guess, has that chocolate in it. Well, now you can buy Reese's Pieces like that.
Oh, okay.
With the lava chocolate in it. And I went, ooh-wee.
Oh, a chocolate lava big cup.
Yeah, that's how I look. That's how I look.
Okay, Reese's, I see what you're doing.
yeah, man. They got lava now.
Coming at me with a dinosaur killer?
Boy, that's some lava I want to touch. Trying to touch that lava.
I want to recreate Mount Vesuvius with this. Maybe that Pompeii. Kill me with Reese's lava?
So many people died. Don't do that. But the lava, yes.
Yeah, so many people died, but that was so long ago, Jastin. We can joke about it now. That was so long ago.
It's too soon.
Jastin, I have joked about people that died 2 weeks ago. Okay, I think Pompeii's not off limits at this point.
Man, it's so soon for you to be talking about Pompeii like that.
Listen, there's a whole song about Pompeii, so I think we're in the clear.
It's so soon.
Oh, you're going to kill me. That just came out of nowhere. Man, you can't be joking about that. People died. It's fucking Pompeii.
It's too soon. It's still too soon.
Of all the inappropriate shit I have joked about in private and on this podcast with you, you're like, I draw the line at joking about the death.
That reached him. That reached him.
I just got to have some decency about some things, Sterling. I have some dignity to protect here.
You're like the humanity of Pompeii.
It was in 79 AD, so let's just keep that in mind, everyone.
It hasn't been that long.
I'm sorry, guys. I thought it was over 2,000 years ago, not just close to.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, let's
give it a few more years.
Sterling,
we haven't even gotten into the 2 millennia anniversary of it yet.
Already coming with the joke.
Already.
I mean, I just feel like that was targeted. Like you just been sitting on it, just waiting. Oh man, I can't wait to throw this Pompeii joke out there. And then I said Reese's Pieces lava, and you went, oh yes, this is what I've been waiting on. I've been sitting on this one for a year about Pompeii, and I'm going to release it now. But little did you know, I'm sensitive about that. That's just too soon. I know you've been sitting on it, waiting on a lava reference so you could throw that one out there. But Sterling, man, we got to just give it a few more years, man. At least a couple of hundred more before you start doing that.
Can I at least joke about it in 2080? So it's at least 2001 years since it happened?
Okay, that's fair game. We can revisit it then, but I just...
Jastin, the only one of us that's got a shot to living to that age is probably you, Jastin. I can't Dick Van Dyke my life. I'll be 95.
Well, the dick part is right, but just the Van and the Dyke.
I'm sorry, Jastin. I didn't realize how sensitive you were about the history of Pompeii.
I took Latin.
He said, I have to have some morals. There's some code.
when your boy Jon Snow, when Kit Harington did that movie about Pompeii, where you just like, I can't watch this. It's just too fresh.
I didn't appreciate it. I wasn't comfortable. We'll just put it that way. I wasn't comfortable. It was like sitting on a pine cone. You know, it's just, I could do it, but
it's one of my favorite things about this podcast is just the things that, like, Jastin chooses to be upset about.
What do you mean?
Alpha. That's
what do you mean?
You know, like that Baby Yoda joke too. That. You were so upset.
To be fair, Jastin, we haven't heard you this fired up about something since Dr. Peppy. Since Baby Yoda said he wants some chicken nuggies or some chicken tendies and some Dr. Peppy. Oh, we haven't heard you this
You're
fired
so
up.
offended by it.
I still don't understand that nonsense.
That was great.
I mean, I guess there's just some things you can't joke about with Jastin. Pompeii or Dr. Peppy.
Then you're going to come here talking about taco nuggets or something. I don't understand. I just don't. I was trying to give you a good bit. I was like, oh man, look at these Reese's Lava cups. And then you had to go there. You had to bring Pompeii in. Off of a Reese's Pieces? I mean, how do you even do this?
Lava? Like, it's really easy. Both have lava.
It's chocolate.
But it's chocolate and lava.
What made you go, something yummy like chocolate lava and lava cake and all that stuff? What made you go, Pompeii, hella people died? What
lava.
Made you do it?
It's the word lava. It's in both. Like, it's just Jastin.
I think the word is monster. You're just a monster.
You know, Jastin, maybe they could have just called it, you know, a chocolate treasure or an old faithful of chocolate. Like an old faithful of chocolate Reese's. But they didn't, Jastin. They went, we're a mini Pompeii. They went, you remember that Vesuvius? We used that, but chocolate.
No, that's what you did. You had a list of things that you could have referenced using lava. And Pompeii was one of them. And you just went to that one and selected it. You didn't have to.
To be fair, Jastin, my list also ended after Pompeii.
Oh, did it?
My list of lava references are chocolate lava cake from Chef, Pompeii.
But there's been so many good movies like Dante's Peak and Joe versus the Volcano.
What was that other one that there was Dante's Peak, and what was the other one?
I think it was called Volcano, wasn't it?
Yeah, with Tommy Lee Jones when the volcano was just in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and they came out around the same time.
Yeah,
those movies.
It was the Deep Impact in Armageddon, but of volcanoes.
Yeah, why did they do that? Why were there two volcano movies?
It's been a long time since they've done that. The last one I think they did was White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen, where we got two movies about a Secret Service agent having to protect the president after a terrorist attack at the White House. That summer was crazy too. But man, we got Armageddon, Deep Impact, and that volcano and Dante's Peak all at the same time. Those were crazy times back in the day. What was your preference? Volcano or Dante's Peak?
Man, Sterling, all those movies suck. Like, all of them. I don't think there is one good volcano movie that exists.
I prefer Dante's Peak of those two, personally.
I mean,
maybe I just remember
Dante might have been a little better.
I liked that scene in Dante's Peak where they're like trying to drive on the lava and their tires are melting and they're like, oh no, our tires are melting. And it's like, well, no shit, you're driving on lava. But do you remember when the grandma killed herself?
She walked through that lava?
No, no. It was in the acid water.
Yes.
Because the water became hydrochloric acid. And so she pushed their boat through the acid.
Yep. But sure did.
But in Dante's Peak, not in Dante's Peak, in Volcano, They funneled the lava into the ocean. They beat the volcano by having a swift city response and traffic barriers.
So you tell me which one's better.
I mean, it really depends. If I want a horny volcano movie, it's Dante's Peak because it's got Pierce Brosnan. But if I want a serious yet charming volcano movie, you got to go Tommy Lee Jones.
That's fair. Yeah. That's a good assessment.
Well, Joe versus Volcano has young Tom Hanks.
Is that the one where he goes into the volcano and lives?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Probably, I mean, let's call it what it is. Best Tom Hanks performance of his career, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's one of those where, like, I always, not always, that would be really sad if I always thought about this, but I always, like, envision these meetings with some of these celebrities and asking them about, like, the dumbest movie they did or acting like I was a fan of just, like, their worst movie. And for him, that would be one. Like, if he was on a panel or something, I'd be the one to go, hey, do you think you'd ever remake Joe versus the volcano just to see what his reaction would be? Like, I bet he would be like, you stupid son of a bitch. I just wonder what he would think in his head.
I weirdly get what you're saying, though, because I do that all the time, too. Because there's a lot of bad movies that these people have done that I just love. Like, I can't tell you how much I want to meet Delroy Lindo to tell him how much I love his scene in Congo.
He'll be like, what? Everything I've done?
And he would think
that one?
I'm being a dick. And I'm not, because I mean it with my whole being. I love his scene in Congo.
What if he actually just came back and like recited the line to you after you said that? Would you die right there?
If he yelled at me to stop eating his sesame cake, I would orgasm and die at the same time.
Jastin's face. He's like trying to picture that whole scenario.
It is a life-changing scene to me. Like, I also feel like I would do that with Billy Zane. Because it's a garbage movie, The Phantom, but I love it. But also, what is it? Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight? That is a god-awful movie. But I love every second he's on screen. I love it. So yeah, there really is so many movies where I would go up to them and it would sound like I'm insulting them. Because I'd be like, I loved you in this movie. And it's one of those movies that's like universally known for being bad. But I would just genuinely mean it with like all of my being. Like, also going back to Congo, I would tell Ernie Hudson the same thing. I loved you in Congo. And it would sound like I am poking fun at him. And I'm not. I genuinely mean that. I loved him in Congo. Loved him. I would probably end up doing the same thing to Tom Hardy. I'd be like, I loved you in This Means War. And he would probably punch me. Because he would think I'm making fun of him, but I would mean it.
You'd probably just go, I deserve that. You know, a few weeks ago, I said something about Pompeii. I deserve this. I deserve this punch in the face.
I mean, I don't know. Jastin, I mean this in the most supportive way I can. I think you are the only person that is that offended by Mount Vesuvius.
Well, then the rest of the world that should really, really, really look deep and question their conscience a little bit more.
I
Their
mean,
moral compass.
we'll put that out there too. Who the fuck has ever eaten or even seen a chestnut? And who the fuck gives a fuck about Mount Vesuvius?
Don't put that in.
I just want to know how many people's lives are still affected by Mount Vesuvius.
It's like that question, like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? But pose it as, how often do you think about Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius?
I guarantee no one thinks about those things as much as I think about Delroy Lindo in Congo.
People don't say that like when they're having a serious crisis or something, like your boss has never been like, oh my gosh, I'm in Pompeii or something like that when they're having a serious crisis.
Jastin, I think that's the first time that's ever been said.
You sure? Your boss has never been like, we're in Pompeii.
Jastin, I guess let's start with, have you ever heard anybody say that?
No comment.
Don't worry about anybody else. Before you thought those words in your head, have you ever heard that statement?
The way you said it, we're in Pompeii. Oh, man.
Is that how a person sounds in crisis?
Oh, man. We're in Pompeii. Yep. Just like that.
What's wrong with me?
Oh, man. If that's how you sound in a crisis, you should probably be just like the director of all crises, because that's mellow.
We're in Pompeii.
You just sounded like a South Park character like that. Oh no, guys, we're in Pompeii.
I want you to do homework and like say that at work one day. Just incorporate that into something at work.
Yeah, then there'll be question, why did he say that? Why did he say he's in Pompeii? Is this a thing now? Is this what people are saying?
New trend.
I really think Jastin's just, oh man, we got a real Pompeii brewing here.
I would love to know how many people respond to it.
I know.
Because it's kind of low key. It's a clever thing to say. Like if you were to say it, I would know what you mean by it. But like, it's just such a
like if someone
niche
did
reference.
say that, it'd be hard not to know what they meant though. Like if they were like, man, I'm in Pompeii. You say it was sadder than that, but
you just see somebody like angry and brewing over in the corner. You're just like, man, we got a real Mount Vesuvius going on over there.
You would know, oh man, it's something bad. You definitely know it's not anything good, you know.
I just think it would also be really hilarious if you got that one person that vaguely knew what you were talking about, but not enough to really realize it. So they thought it was a good thing.
It's like, yeah, Pompeii. Really out of context.
Just some guy being like, hell yeah, man, Pompeii.
He thinks you're talking about the movie.
I love that movie.
The sad thing is that person doesn't exist because no one saw it. No one saw Pompeii.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I just know it exists. I have not even watched. I think I might have seen the trailer once. I just know it exists. And I know Kid Harington was in it. Because, nothing speaks ancient European culture other than a British accent. So.
That song, though, Pompeii, is a great song.
I don't know if I know what song you're talking about.
I think if you heard it, you would. It's by a band called Bastille. Listen to it. It's good.
You don't know what I know or don't.
I'm just saying, like, the public should know this song if you don't.
Can you sing some of it for us?
I'm good.
But how will I know?
You can hear the real singers sing it. It's going to be much better, I promise.
Well, we got to talk about Kraven before I can do that. So I need to know now.
Why did I bring this up knowing you would ask me to do that?
Are you afraid you won't survive this Kraven talk?
That's why we've been going for over an hour
this might
on
be
the
my
intro.
own personal Pompeii.
Your life?
This might
Are
be
you in a Pompeii?
I'm in a Pompeii.
This episode's going to be a real Pompeii, guys. I got to say.
A real Pompeii.
I see that Vesuvius, which is the intro music, and I might be dead after. I guess it's that time, guys. Oh, man. I hope that's over half the episode spent already. Yeah, I truly, truly do.
Absolute props for the effort, though, to try to make the intro as long as possible
It's
to
like,
avoid
what
it.
if we just do 2-hour intro? We just never talk about Kraven.
Well, we got you a good hour, man. We did what we could.
That'd be time much better spent. Oh, I guess.
Somebody will listen to me.
Nobody knows anything but you.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on.
Cinema Slayers.
Hey, Cinefans. Welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Slayers podcast. I'm Sterling, and as always, I'm joined by Vesuvius and Pompeii. And today, we're going to talk about what we didn't like about Kraven. We're going to go, I don't know, probably spoiler-free. I'm not. Jastin and Heather might go spoiler-free. I'm not. We're going to go to recommendations and scores. And spoiler alert, it's going to be a don't. I don't know scores yet, but no one's recommending this movie. I'm saying that confidently. No one's recommending this movie. And then we're going to go into a spoiler section with time codes, the description that hopefully are not much after this. To allow you to jump around if you actually give a fuck about Kraven, which I don't think many people did because it made no fucking money. We might be the only 3 people that fucking saw it. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'll start. Fuck this movie. Heather, what about you?
Real downward spiral on that one, real quick.
Somebody's hunting on here, dog. You over here hunting on here.
Jastin, quit putting more effort into your jokes than they did in this whole goddamn movie. It's Heather's section. Quit interrupting.
I mean, I don't know, guys. Like, I think this movie is just as good as, if not better, than Mantis.
I think you're fucking pushing it.
I just wanted the dramatic effect of what you thought I was going to say. But
I mean, Mantis at least gets the excuse that it was a 90s television show. What the fuck excuse does this movie have?
you just been stung. Yeah.
Yeah,
There is a person kind of mantis stinging on here, though.
That's true.
But how is that any different in this movie than when he's essentially going, "You've just been hunted"? Like, it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everyone. Just all of the same things in both of those. Oh, man. But yeah, no, I mean, all of that to say this was not good. I don't know. It just, there was kind of like what you said, Sterling. There was not really like effort put into this movie that you could tell. Like, it was the definition of just things happening on screen. And I know we have seen a lot of those lately, it feels like. But I mean, this is just kind of, if you were to think of, if somebody asked you that question, name a movie where they're just things are happening that mean nothing. This is that movie. This is going to be the first thing. This is going to be what comes to mind for you.
I mean, I'm really just shocked by this movie because how did Madam Web have more of a fucking story than this movie? Like, it got outstoried by Madam Web. How the fuck does that happen?
Yet somehow, here we are. You're right. I mean, but sadly though, while this is not the worst movie that I've seen this year, it's definitely close. It's very close.
I legit can't think of anything worse I've seen this year. I can't.
Borderlands.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
I think Borderlands was worse, but that's, matter of opinion. It's close. I still think it was a little bit worse. And, maybe that'll change by the day. But right now, today, that is my scoring for it. But, it just doesn't really have any redeeming qualities. Like, even the people that were out there, like Aaron Taylor Johnson, he looks great. We want to watch him in this. It's not worth that. Just get a poster and hang it up. It'll be better money spent if that's what you really cared about with this movie. The acting of this movie it falls flat, especially given the cast of people we have in it. It's very, very disheartening and disappointing that we have really, really talented people in a movie that it's again, similar to Borderlands. If this was your first movie seeing Russell Crowe or seeing Ariana DeBose or any number of other people in this movie, there's no way you're going to think that they have Oscars. There's just no way. Like, it's crazy.
Wait, she has an Oscar?
Oh yeah, she got Best Supporting for West Side Story.
Oh, I keep forgetting that thing exists.
Yeah. And to be fair, she was the best part about that movie. I'll give her that.
I think this conversation literally happened in the Argyle episode too.
Yeah, correct. Because she's in that, and you're like, "Who's that now?" And probably Wish, because she was in that, and you're like, "Who's that now?"
No disrespect to her, but like, I didn't like West Side Story, and I don't like anything she's ever been in.
That's totally fair. That is completely fair.
She is an Academy Award winner, and I'm still waiting to see her in a good movie.
I feel like there's probably something else she's been in before that, but I just can't think of what it is. But anyway,
I'll look her up.
Cool. But yeah, it's similar to that where you're like, unfortunately, there's just no way you would think any of these are like Russell Crowe is legendary at this point as an actor. Russell Crowe is one of the best actors, I would say, of like our time. He was in Gladiator.
He was in Pope's Exorcist.
He sure was. That Vespa.
And side note, she is in one thing I like so far. She's in Schmigadoon. I did like Schmigadoon.
Right. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, she is in Schmigadoon. Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, and I'm always going to have like this love for Russell Crowe because it was long overdue for me to love him. I was late to the game in acknowledging him, but he's such a fantastic actor. Like, even in things that are bad, like movies or bad roles, he has a quality that he brings to where I'm just like, I'll never blame you for this. I'll never blame you for what you're doing here, Russell, because you're doing your best. But I'm having trouble even in finding it with him in this movie. I am having trouble, and it makes me sad because I don't want to lose my hope in that man and his abilities. But even in this, I'm just like, I'm not seeing anything here that's really worth anything. Like, it's just not good. Like, all of it falls flat. And the story it's not an engaging story, in my opinion. Like, I I just don't find anything about this like, wow, that's a really cool concept. That's an interesting story. And maybe, based on the source material, maybe it actually is, and they just didn't really do it right in this movie. But I was just kind of more like looking at it like, huh? What's happening? What is this? All right.
There's nothing about this. The word source material just never need to be said. Just don't even
Because there
worry
is
about
none. Got it. Fair enough. Whatever it is. I don't know. But I mean, it also has like this thing where there's a lot of characters in this, and some of them don't even show up till like maybe halfway through the movie. And like, we don't really get a lot of insight into any of these characters other than the weird way that they splice up telling Kraven's origin in the middle of this. But like, it's just one of those where they're trying to pack in so much and they're bringing in all these characters, and there's just no investment there because they're trying to put too much in. Like I couldn't even feel like, okay, I relate to this character. Okay, I feel like I understand this character or their motives or anything they're doing. Like there wasn't really any of that for any of these characters. And like they have also in this movie, some of the relationships between the characters kind of give you whiplash a little bit, because it'll be one thing, and at the drop of a hat, it just changes to something else. And especially at the end. But I'm just like, what? How did we, like, again, it feels like that whatever movie, I guess it was Gladiator 2, we were talking about, like, it feels like they're missing some transition pieces here, or just some scenes that would allow for that to be warranted, because none of it is. Like, it's actually insane how much it's not warranted for any of it. Like, I don't know. I'm just confused. Like, it's genuinely, I know we joke a lot, but I'm like, why did we need this movie? Like, we didn't. I don't think anybody really asked for it. And if they did, they're probably like, you know what? That's our bad. I don't know why we wanted this. Please rescind this movie. But and the effects honestly weren't great either. Like, it's fine except for some of like the CGI things that happen with some animals that aren't the best. Like, I don't know. And it's also like, weirdly, it feels like it takes itself too seriously. Like, because it doesn't really know, it feels like it doesn't really know what kind of tone it really wants to be, because it's not like the humorous tone, you know what I mean? And it's not like this dark, brooding tone necessarily. So it just kind of, it sits somewhere in the middle, kind of lost in the mix of any other sort of origin story thing. And yeah, there's just nothing of substance there in any given moment of this movie.
Jastin, what about you?
Oh, Kraven. Well, this is it. This is supposed to be the last film in the non-Spider-Man, Spider-Man adjacent universe. And boy, did we go out with a bang as far as the quality of this one. And like, the crazy thing is that Kraven the Hunter is not a bad character when he's fighting Spider-Man in the comics. He's got some interesting things about him. He's kind of got a certain code about him, and there's a certain honor in the way that he hunts and fights Spider-Man and everything like that, and this obsession with trying to hunt down Spider-Man who defeated him, and Spider-Man's the only thing that he's ever hunted that he wasn't able to hunt, so he's like after Spider-Man. Like, there are definitely some interesting dynamics and some interesting things about Kraven in the comic books. And I always thought that he kind of had a cool character design. So I would understand why somebody would look at somebody like Kraven and go, oh, that might be something we can make a movie about. But the problem is that Spider-Man is not in the movie. So how do you even make a movie about this villain person who hunts and everything? And it just seemed like they were like, okay, we really need this movie out, and it's just a cash grab. So we'll just make him hunt bad guys. You know, he was a bad guy hunting a good guy, but we'll just make him hunt bad guys. Okay, check. Then it's like you just go down the list and it's just nothing but cliches. It's just nothing but things you've seen before, but done better in other movies. Like you said, Heather, it's so disjointed with how it tells the origin story, how it tries to explain character motivations, and it spends all this time with all this Kraven backstory and still doesn't really explain. I still don't feel like I understood this character's motivations or why he's doing certain things. Oh, I'm the best hunter ever. Why? Why do you want to be this?
Well,
Why?
Jastin, but they told you no less than 52 times he's the best, though.
Exactly. I'm the best. Why are you the best? Because I'm the best. I'm the best. Nobody can hang with me unless it's a panther sneaking up on me, or unless I always conveniently have potions so people can revive me and bring me back to life. But I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. But like, that's all it says, though. Oh, I'm the best and I'm doing this. But why, though? Like, it never really gets to the heart of any of those things. And you could just copy and paste that for a lot of these characters. I'm Calypso. And my grandma on this card said that I was.
Jastin, have you ever had a family member say your name as many times as her grandmother said her name in the span of 3 minutes?
Yeah, Clay, Calypso, come here. Calypso, here's this tarot card.
That was
Calypso.
rough. I noticed that too. That was crazy.
Yeah, she just kept saying it. I was like, why does it keep telling me that she's okay? She's Calypso. We know. Yes, she's in the comics, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, her character trait was, because my grandmother did this. I'm doing this because my grandmother told me this. And it was on a card. That's it. That's most of that character. Like, that is most of that character story. Then when we get to the second half, where she's grown up, not much of that changes either. It's like, I'm doing this because you told me to do it. Like, some of these character motivations are really that simple. I'm here because the movie wants me here. I'm bad because I'm bad. I want to kill him because I'm bad and I want to kill him. I mean, that's what we're doing here. Like, some of these, other than that, I don't know what else to tell you. They didn't give me much else to go by. That's it. I want to kill him because I want to kill him and I'm bad. That's it. I mean, that's what we get.
And I really loved, and like I said, I don't give a fuck if I go into spoilers now. I really love how this whole movie happens. And just at the end, for no reason, his younger brother goes, "You're just like Dad." Okay.
Literally part of that like 180 change of like, that was his brother was his hero up until that instant right there that he said that. I'm like, what? When did this happen?
And after Kraven saves his life and then goes and kills his dad because his dad is the reason why all this other shit happened, he just goes, "You're just like Dad." That's empirically just not true. Like, we saw in the movie.
Yeah, we saw everything. And
What
you
is
were
this?
there for half of it. He talked to you, and y'all were hanging out, and he talked to you for half of it. And you said
They were
that.
having bro time. They were just having a good old time. And out of nowhere, he's like, you know what? You're just like Dad. Like, what?
And then Kraven's like, "How can you say that?" And he goes, "Because I'm a chameleon." The fuck was this?
Also, I feel like I just want to say I feel bad that something Heschinger, that's his name. He was the Mad Emperor #2 in Gladiator 2.
He was Syphilis Emperor, if anybody is confused. He is Syphilis
Yeah.
Emperor.
Okay.
But I kind of feel like at this point, like I've seen him in just like a handful of things. I feel like he's already being typecast as just like a man child all the time. It's
Just
some version of it.
is he
Yeah.
typecast as just idiot?
Even in White Lotus, whatever season he was on, same thing.
I haven't seen that, so I can't comment on that. I've seen this person in 2 things that I know of. He was in Gladiator 2 as a syphilitic idiot, and he was in Kraven as just idiot little brother.
Which is exactly what he is in White Lotus. 100%. Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
this movie to me is just emblematic of all of its own problems, just right down to the fact that I think all of the audio accidentally got deleted or lost at one point, because almost every line of dialogue in this entire movie is ADR'd. Not a single line in this movie is uttered was actually filmed on set. They re-recorded everything. And there's one scene in particular where something happens and Kraven goes, "Oh shit." Aaron Taylor Johnson's mouth doesn't move when that happens. He just says, "Oh shit." And his face is just because they ADR'd it. And I think he said, "Oh shit," in the ADR recording because I think he fucked up the line. And he said, "Oh shit." And they just kept it because they didn't know any better. It is jarring how much you can tell no one is actually saying the lines that they are saying when they speak on this movie. Every single voice you hear was recorded in a booth. Like, no wonder this movie got delayed 5 times. They had to re-record all the audio for the entire fucking film. Everybody. That means they had to pay that woman that was Calypso's grandmother just to come in and say Calypso 9 times. This movie is, I don't know, Heather. You're like, man, Borderlands is worse. I mean, at least I could say that a word in Borderlands was, filmed. For all I know, they all just sat there like fucking Muppets while they were filming this and just moved their mouths and they made up the words later.
Can you imagine a double feature night with Borderlands and Kraven?
Oh, God.
I remember when we talked about Borderlands and I said, statistically speaking, this might be somebody's first movie. And I guess the one good thing about Kraven over Borderlands is the fact that it's rated R. There's just a chance this won't be your first movie. Like, statistically speaking, it's less of a chance that this is your first movie just because it's rated R. But also, do you think they changed it to rated R because A, they added all the blood in post, like every ounce of blood is CGI in this movie? But also, is that why they ADR'd this movie so much? Because they just had to add fucks?
Could be.
Mhm.
I wouldn't put
Wouldn't put it
anything
past
past
them.
them at this point.
Anyway. Recommendations and scores?
Sure.
Yeah.
Recommendations and score.
I'll go. No. And I said I was going to take this seriously this year. And we're almost done with the year. I give it a negative. 2,000 estimated people died in Pompeii out of 100. Jastin, what about you?
I told you. You said you'd wait a few years.
Yeah, then you made me talk about Kraven. All bets are off.
Man.
If this movie
No,
proves
I don't
anything,
recommend
there's no honor in this world.
It's not a recommend. It's not good. It's dumb. It's a cash grab, but the person trying to grab the cash doesn't have any hands. It's just not good. And I don't understand the purpose. I just don't really get it.
Picture some executive at Sony just, I can't get it. He's just in a suit and the sleeves are just
That's what this felt like. It just flares and does shit and doesn't make any money.
Dude, it was so funny when they were projecting this because they're like, guys, this might make less money than Madam Web because it opened at 25 and this is only estimated to make 20. And then it opened and everybody went, fuck, it made 13. It just made nothing. And they spent so much money on this and it made nothing.
I'm telling you, that's what it did. It flopped around and tried to grab at it and just was yelling and moving its arms around and collected no money. And that's pretty much what it is. So if that's the kind of experience you want, do something else that might offer you that experience. Not this. Don't do it. So we'll give it 4. Russell Crowe, what the hell was that accent? Out of 100.
It was terrible, but also possibly the best one in the movie. It's very weird.
It might have been. I mean, that's saying something.
Told you he's never the worst thing in a movie.
He's not. He's in no way, shape, or form the worst thing in this movie. It is top to bottom, all bad. And it's just, I guess Russell Crowe's in it.
Yeah.
Heather, what about you?
Speaking of accents, though, like I have a very distinct memory, and maybe it's off, of when we get to like the piano lounge when Chameleon is like doing his thing in the piano, and then like everybody gets shot up. I know we're going into spoilers in a minute here. Like, I'm pretty sure that like when he's talking to his dad, he's doing like an accent. But then immediately after that, it's just a normal like American accent. And I don't know if that was intentional because he's the chameleon, so he's just doing voices, or if that was just something that in their, in their mistakes of this movie didn't catch that he wasn't supposed to be doing. I don't know, but it felt very out of place for him to just, in a very serious moment with his dad, be doing an accent. And then any other time after that we saw him, he just had an American accent. Maybe I misremembered that, but I could have sworn that he had that accent. And I was like, where did his accent go? It was very strange to me. But anyways, that aside, well, no, that along with everything else means no for the recommend. It's not good. There's just nothing about it that is acceptable in any capacity. Yeah, the acting is just flat. The story is flat. Like, it genuinely is just a cash grab movie. It truly is. That's the only, and it's really unfortunate that, I mean, maybe not, but also like this is what you ended on with these. Like, this is the movie that you ended on with these like villain origin, whatever stories you're doing. And that sucks for all of you. But, so yeah, no, not recommending it. I mean, I was going to say 5 taxidermy lions by Russell Crowe out of 100.
The official CineScore is a negative 663.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I'm not rounding up.
And not for this one.
Nope. Spoilers?
Yeah.
Yep.
Spoilers.
How did they make the chameleon an even more useless character than Ben Parker was in Madam Web? It's astounding.
Yeah.
Like when we're watching this movie and he goes, man, my son's just something of a chameleon. I went, you sons of bitches. You sons of fucking bitches.
Something like a chameleon.
It showed him doing it because he sings songs and sounds like other people. And they're just like, he's a chameleon. Shouldn't a chameleon be at least slightly taller? He can only mimic short people. Realistically speaking, he could mimic Kevin Hart, Tom Cruise, and himself. I don't understand. He is such a small person. Like, who would be confused by him? Like, if he actually walked around looking like Kraven, like he does at the end of the movie, no one would think he's actually Kraven because he's at least 3 foot shorter and at least 97 pounds of muscle smaller. Anyway.
He's 5'7", by the way. I just looked it up. He's on the shorter side.
Did they film this man always with a bad angle? Because he looks no taller than 3'8".
He does look shorter, yeah. Because 5'7" it's almost like average height.
It's slightly under average.
Yeah,
and he
just slightly
looks
under.
Diminutive. He looks like a fucking kindergartner. He looks like all the kids in Kindergarten Cop when compared to Arnold. Just compared to every other human being in this movie. It's astounding. Also, why the fuck is Pollux Troy in this movie? What the fuck was that guy as the Rhino? Like, I watched a TikTok and this person was like, it was like looking at a picture of the Rhino and they were like, this looks dumb. And this person responds to it going on like a 3-minute rant about how they obviously don't know comics because it's a very comic accurate Rhino and all this shit. And like shows all these different iterations of the Rhino. And like, yeah, sure, there are versions of the Rhino that I guess look like this. But also that doesn't mean it doesn't look insanely fucking dumb. Like both can be true. It can be a comic accurate Rhino and also look dumb. And I know this because that's exactly what it looks like. It looks dumb. And it's only made worse by, I was a weak man, and this guy made me stronger by making me a Rhino person. Okay. I guess.
Why would he turn into a literal rhino, though? Why would he look like that? Well, I'm sorry.
And everybody's.
Why would he look like that, though?
just all these criminals.
If all he gave you was something to make your skin harden, why do you look like a rhino?
Why do you have rhino horns? But also, like.
Why do you have horns?
Why is this movie acting like it's a Dick Tracy thing where they just name you after obviously what you look like? Because they're just like, oh man, it's the Rhino. And it's like, why do you call him the Rhino? And they're like, because he charges full of crime. And then he's like, but I'm a Rhino. When I pull out this thing, he's like, it hurts so much, but I look like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, more importantly with that too, like he kept saying, oh yeah, it's all this pain. Yet you kept half demonstrating what you are as the rhino. He's like, see, it hurts so much, but didn't even fully go into it. And then just to put it back, it didn't even fully show them. Twice he does this. Like, he's like, it hurts so much, but look, but don't look too much, and puts, what was he doing?
What was the point of it hurting? Why did it need to hurt? How did that help the film? How did that help anything this man was doing? Why did it need to hurt? Why could he just do it? Why
he's the most
do it?
Serious villain. He's the most unserious villain I've ever seen. I could not be intimidated by this man. I couldn't. It was crazy.
And then he just gets beat by some buffalo. He just gets beat by buffalo. They just beat him.
His skin is impenetrable except for this hole that's right here. I'm sorry, guys. It's just...
Why did they film that scene like it was Arya killing the Night King? Like, he's just choking him, and he just like Arya. Like, I feel like they filmed that movie, saw that scene, and went, wait a second, what if Kraven killed him like the Night King? And then just a bunch of buffalo Mufasa the motherfucker. It's just so weird. Like, he gets killed. He headbutts a fucking truck, and then just buffalo stomp on him. And he's just, I'm dead. Like, I'm like, okay, that's a weird choice.
Since when could Kraven control Buffalo? When did he have a kinship with Buffalo?
Is this
a Buffalo kinship?
Okay,
like how
Justin, I got a
Morbius
question
had the
for you.
Batwing?
Did this movie not feel like somebody was trying to reboot Beastmaster, but Sony bought it and made it Kraven?
Yeah.
Because, dude, that scene when he's at home after he gets the elixir, and that Falcon is just sitting on his like perch and just like tapping the window, being like, hey, bro, let's get out of here. He's like, yeah, I got to get out of here, man. I was like, what in the Beastmaster fucking hell is this movie? Just animals coming up and talking to his ass. And he's just like, yeah, Falcon, let's go. And then you just never see that Falcon again the rest of the movie. But it's just, I expected 2 ferrets to show up out of his pocket this entire fucking film. Yeah, he's just, like, the thing is there are versions of Kraven where he does take elixirs and potions and he gets vague animal powers and all this stuff. That does happen in the comics, but
at least he makes them himself and has some sort of thought process to it.
This movie, like, she's like, there's this elixir of Papa Legba. And I'm like, okay, that's such a thing. You know, Papa Legba, the voodoo, spirit that really doesn't have anything to do with African culture in the slightest because it's voodoo. But, let's skip that part, I guess. And they're just like, yeah, if, you drink his potion, you become a god, which also not a thing. I'm just like, guys, how many cultures can you just shit on in one fucking movie? Like, I understand that Sony has no sacredness to anything, obviously. Look at how many non-Spider-Man Spider-Man movies we've gotten. But guys, just stop. And then why is he like, I've been traveling all over the world looking for this potion again? Like, but why? You're practically immortal anyway.
Yeah, why? Why do you need more of it? What was the point of that? They just don't explain nothing. Did you even understand what happened when he took it? Like, it shows where he got bit, and it looks like the blood, the elixir. At first, I thought, okay, did he mutate him somehow? Because did the blood, because it looked almost like the blood from when he got bit and the lion and everything mixed in with the elixir, and it looked like it kind of like there was a mutation or something. So, but none of it is clear.
That and that's the weird conceit of the movie. Not only is there magic potion, but there's magic potion and like lion bite serendipity. It's not even that he just has a magic potion. It's also that he gets lion blood and the potion. at the same time, and that makes a Kraven. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Based on everything they said about the potion alone, that should have just been fine enough. Like, okay. But also, like, I know I'm skipping around. I don't give a fuck. I'm practically telling in the order this movie does. How did Kraven's dad know to, like, make him the lion vest before he left? Like, did Kraven's dad know when he went he was going to die? That his son was going to come murder him and go back home?
And I thought he didn't like his dad. I thought you had covered the conspiracy and you had a bear kill him. Well, then, why would you put that on proudly and sit down? Like, why wouldn't he just go, this is from my dad? Fuck him. Now, I don't have a brother anymore. Why would he just put that on and go, yeah, and sit in this chair? Because this is what they did in the comic. Why did they do that?
And also, who puts chairs in front of mirrors like that? Is that just a weird sex chair?
That whole ending scene was also unserious. Like, he's just like, I look good in this vest. Let me just stare at myself while I sit in this chair like I'm a model.
And it
posing
lasted way
in the chair.
too long. It was the Gal Gadot stare at himself. He was just sitting there, and it was way too long.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I feel so bad for Aaron Taylor Johnson. Because the entire shoot of this movie, the man didn't drink a sip of water or eat a single grain of rice or any carbohydrates whatsoever. This man obviously ate just nothing but egg whites. And that's it. He ate nothing. He consumed no sustenance whatsoever. Just ate a ton of egg whites. And they just made him a puppet. Like, it's so weird. You know, and like, while the vest kind of looks cool, he's just wearing vests the whole movie anyway. You just added a bunch of hair to it. That seems like that'd get in the way.
Why couldn't he have just already made that himself and been fighting in it? Why save that to the end? Like,
why
oh,
couldn't
man,
he have killed the
now
lion?
he's a full Kraven. We're excited about this. Why did they do that?
Why did the dad kill the lion? Why didn't he kill the lion?
True. Wouldn't it have made more sense for him to have been trying to, like, why wasn't the lion alive and he went and did that? Like,
Yeah. Because, I mean, I guess I'm assuming it's supposed to be that whole he's one with the lion. He feels a kinship with it, but it doesn't play as well to do it that way, like for this movie.
Heather,
do you
nothing
know what
plays
his
well in
powers
this
were?
movie. In the movie, he just has vague animal powers. It's not even just lion powers. He just has vague animal powers.
Yeah, look, with my yellow eye, I can see well and
Smell everything.
I can smell everything, take hella damage.
And somehow be a very good, like, combat fighter and, like, crazy good aim with weapons automatically.
And like, what the fuck was that house? Like, what? Why is there just random house? Like, he's like, oh, is my family's house? Like, did you guys notice that throughout this movie, whenever he was like, yeah, I'm going to protect the animals, he would also just wait till they were murdered before he would do anything? Like, he watched all those buffalo get murdered just to stand there by the gate? Like, it's so, why are you watching it happen? How about you just go do something? Instead of bitching about people doing it. Also, I thought that one-horned buffalo that ends up killing the rhino, I thought he got murdered like 4 different times in this movie. I was real surprised to see him alive at the end. I thought he died at the beginning of the movie. You know, the first time they murder all those buffalo, I thought he died then. Isn't it also sad that the beginning of this movie is a less interesting version of something we saw a long time ago in Mission Impossible 4? Isn't it also kind of sad that the escape from the mental asylum in The Crow was slightly better than this? Like, what was all that stuff when that guy, like, at the beginning of the movie when he's like, oh, you can't escape here, it's too cold. Just to have him escape, like right after, like that was going to mean anything. Like, once again, also, what was the purpose of the pilot in this movie? Did they not make her seem like she was actually a character, and then she wasn't?
Yep.
Like I was half expecting that to end up being like Julia Roberts or some shit, like just somebody like famous, and she's just in the movie, but not. And once again, they ADR'd all of her dialogue. But they really acted like she was a character. Like, because that's, as far as I know, that's Kraven's best friend. And we just see the back of her head the whole movie.
I honestly thought it was Tig Notaro. I really did. I was like, oh, is Tig in this movie? I just didn't know.
What was that character's name? Sally or something? I want to just
No
look at
idea.
IMDb who Sally the pilot was.
And what was all the be a man, don't be weak. You got to be a man. You're not weak. This, that, the other. What was all of that?
Yeah, everything in this movie felt dated, but also weird. Like,
Yeah.
because, yeah.
They didn't know how to position that to make it seem like a bad thing. And then they didn't know how to position it to make it seem like a good thing. They were just saying it and doing it.
Like, I think it was meant to be like, oh, look how bad this guy is. But, like, it just was nothing in the end. Because as much as, like, the little brother's like, oh, man, Dad's been so mean to me. Man, your dad bought you a fucking bar so you could just fucking sing karaoke all the time. Shut up.
Elizabeth Appleby.
How the fuck did you find that? Because I haven't found shit yet.
Just IMDb, it just says cargo pilot or something, or cargo plane pilot.
I guess I missed it. Holy shit.
Well, she also doesn't have a picture on IMDb either, so nobody knows what she looks like, I guess. I don't know.
No,
but,
they
yeah.
don't even. Did nobody even see her face?
Right?
Oh man, this poor woman. She don't even got a face. Man. Oh man, poor man, IMDb is doing this woman so bad. Like, not only does she not get a picture, they're saying she's known for Kraven the Hunter. Oh no. Known for Kraven the Hunter. Opie. Oh no. The closest thing I could find is an Applebee's in Elizabeth, New York. Oh no. This poor woman. Also, what the fuck was the point of the foreigner character? Just hypnotize eyes? Like, in general, I guess, like hypnotize eyes, but then they're like, oh man, if you get stung by this dart, man, ooh-wee, it makes you relive your scariest fear and then you die and all this shit. Like, I guess Kraven's afraid of spiders. I guess that's how they're like, oh, look, Spider-Man. Kraven's scared of spiders. And then it like flashbacks to his mom and it's like, oh no, his mom was scared of spiders too, guys. Oh, man.
Which that confused me too, because it looked like a lot of his like nightmares or visions or whatever he had was like he saw what his mom was going through before she
Oh, God.
unalived herself. And I'm like, how does he know any of this? Is very weird.
There's nothing I hate in movies more than when characters flashback or dream about shit they could have never seen.
And they just kept doing it. You kept seeing that flash, and it's like, can we see something else? Can I see his relationship with his mom so I can care about it? Can I see some sort of development or something, interactions with him and his mom to develop that so I can understand how much this hurts him? Like, just not at all. All he kept seeing was her going, like, what was that? I mean, it just wasn't even trying, bro, like in any kind of way.
But you got a chameleon, man. You should be real happy, man. When we get Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4, you'll get Kraven the Hunter and Chameleon.
Yeah. And they spent so much time with him and his brother having talks and interactions and all that stuff. It seemed like some energy was actually put into them having interactions and talks and having kind of a relationship and kind of an understanding of each other, even though they were different. And then they just threw it all away.
In the most unsatisfying way ever. Oh, you're just like Dad. No, he's not. Just stop. We saw your entire relationship in this movie. He's nothing like your father. You quit lying. You quit lying, Mr. Chameleon. Oh, this fucking movie. It really is, though, Heather. It really is just a bunch of shit happening. They just went, hey, guys, let's give them 2 hours and 10 minutes of shit happening and us speaking in the studio.
And why did they make Ariana DeBose act like this? She can act way better than this. Way better than this. Why? I mean, I feel like they had to bring a coach in to make her act that bad.
To be fair.
I mean, I just don't know how. It was just the dialogue was so bad.
To be fair, I really do think this movie was filmed before West Side Story. They filmed this movie so long ago.
It might have been. But, I mean, dude, but Sterling, they were sitting down and she goes, well, I'm a lawyer. And he was like, well, I could kill that person for you, whatever. She was like, well, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. I mean, I'm a lawyer to not do that. And he went, well, the law can't always handle the issues. And then she just kind of went, yeah, all right. That's cool. What you kill?
What are you talking about, Jastin? That's just how you do. That's how you operate at international law firms. You just go, when somebody just goes, hey, I'll kill that guy. You have to say no. And then when they go, but if they ask a second time, if they go, but I can, you're supposed to go, I guess. That's international law 101.
I mean, he was like, come on. You know that the law doesn't always handle shit right. She was kind of like, all right. I mean, you a lawyer. You lost an argument that easy.
Dude,
come on.
That scene when he's in that office and that guy's like, where's George? And he's like, you're standing in him. And then he just crossbows him and crosses him off the list all nonchalantly. When he crossed that man off the list, somebody in my theater had the audacity to laugh at that scene. Like a joke was made. I have never been so angry in my life. I wanted to throw a baby at him. Or maybe just some jalapenos.
Something.
I was so mad.
I mean, I also just really wasn't buying that, like, the connection between Calypso and Kraven. Like, just, like, I know it was basically saying, like, oh, yeah, like, I was able to find you, and I've basically, like, he was essentially keeping tabs on her. And, like, to the point where he knew that she was going to be at a funeral at the very moment and he could just go and show up. Like, he was very invested in this woman's life, but stayed away for so long of a time. When I'm like, if all you needed was this, like, more of that stuff, like, why are you keeping tabs on her for so long? Like, just be like, hey, I found you and I just wanted to tell you, you saved my life and I want more of this stuff. Like, why do you need to be keeping tabs on this woman for such a long time? Like, I don't get it.
Well, that's because obviously, Heather, you've never given somebody a life-saving potion before.
Yeah, there's probably set rules for it I'm not aware of. Yeah,
he was
that makes
just
sense.
following potion protocol.
Yes. Like, I mean, it was just, they really expected you to just be fine with that explanation and just be like, oh, okay, whatever. Cool. You guys are just in contact again. That's fine. Whatever.
I mean, when Henrietta saved my life with the magic potion, I had to do that.
Okay, so it's just me not understanding the rules. I see. That's fair. Okay.
I mean, I've never seen a just more obvious example of somebody whose life has never been saved or saved somebody's life with a potion.
Mm-hmm. Really, I think if anybody saves your life, you should stalk them afterwards.
I mean, just
why wouldn't you do that?
I'm just saying, when it's done with a
Especially
potion,
years later.
They don't have to explain it to you. You just know.
And also, like, with that whole, like, the house that you're talking about, like, where she's, like, exploring and she pushes the button and, like, the weapons come down or whatever. Like, that was supposed to be a badass reveal, and you know they thought it was. But also, like, those things came down so slow. First of all, at least I think they did.
But also, why did they do that scene twice?
Yeah. Again, they really thought they had something with that scene. And I'm like, it's going, like, I mean, it's not like it was, like, hella slow, but it kind of was. It was just like, let's do each individual one at a time come down and let's show it to you twice in case you didn't catch it the first time. It was so weird.
They did that scene like it's the scene in other movies where when the woman accidentally presses the button and it becomes the fuck pad. That's how they played that scene.
No.
Like that was supposed to get Calypso ready to fuck Kraven. But before they fucked, they had to go stop the rhino.
Then she was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good with an arrow. Then the next scene she gets to shoot it. Just that immediate payoff of it. Like, let's put a scene in there where she says she's good at it. So then we can just have her shoot it at the next scene and kill this guy. Like, that was just so insanely quick. There was no build up to that at all.
I mean, sadly, who was that? The Foreigner? I mean, and this is not saying much, but like, of the 1,200 villains that they had in this movie, he was probably the better of them all, but that's not saying much. But like, it definitely wasn't the unserious Rhino guy. I couldn't take him seriously. Like, I just was like, who is this guy? What is he doing? He was a clown. Like, he was just a clown. And then you got the chameleon guy at the end, and you're just like, you're like, again, you're just this little guy. You're like a man child. It's bad villains.
But also, even going back to what you're saying about the Foreigner, though, like, what is the deal when he's like, oh man, this is made of, Siberian wriggleworm root that only grows in 20 square feet in Siberia. Then how the fuck do you know what it is? He's like, this is the most rare plant on Earth.
Yeah.
And I know exactly where they grow it. How? Because if you know exactly where they grew that, then that means you know exactly where Kraven's house has always been.
I mean, and like it felt like they wanted this big reveal of the foreigner, and they like waited it out. Like he shows up halfway through the movie, I think, or something like that, and they wanted it to be like this big deal, and it didn't have that payoff.
What are you talking about? They clearly went, "Hey guys, we need the foreigner," and then they cut right to him.
Yeah, that's true. They did.
But like, I just don't understand when he's like, "I know exactly where they grow this plant." That means you've just been to Kraven's house. Like, it grows like right outside his front door. And they're just like, he's like, "I know exactly where it is." Like, I really wish there was a scene where he went, "Oh, fuck, dude, I've been to this guy's house." Like, I had coffee there once. He was a nice guy.
And also, like, we get what his power is. They also showed his, like, 1, 2, 3 thing a lot. A lot.
Oh, that was the most just annoying thing ever. Just 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, like, show it once, and then the other times make it to where it's already at 3, and we're seeing the aftermath. Like, that would be more effective.
Like, yeah, you do it once, and then you just have him just, you know, just say 1. Oh, don't say anything. I mean, I guess they felt bad because they had to pay for that guy to stand in the studio for so long, so they just made him say 1, 2, 3 over and over again just to kill time. But also, like, what was that power, too? Like, I get it was hypnotism, so he wasn't actually moving fast. They just perceived it as moving fast. But then why did it look just like when Morbius would use, like, plastic bag in the wind speed? Like, they just recycled Morbius using vampire speed. Now, the only singular credit I will give this movie is, at least technically at the end of the movie, it wasn't Kraven fighting another lion guy.
That is true. They did not do that.
You know,
they did not.
Because, like, you know, Venom always fought other Venoms. Morbius fought other Morbius. Madam Web fought other, like, Mr. Web. Like, at least in this, he didn't fight other guy with, like, vague cat powers. He didn't fight tiger guy that got a potion. Like, I'll give him that credit.
That is true. And what's also even more just dumb about it is that if you had the chameleon in here and you were going to turn the brother against him anyway, why couldn't this have been some sort of manipulation by the brother who could become all of these people and be the chameleon and all of that stuff? He could have been pretending to be his father. Why didn't we do something interesting here? Like, why the fuck did we not do any of that stuff if you had the chameleon?
Yeah.
Why didn't you do it?
Because you could have done one real, like, subtle twist at the end of the movie. Because you know how it was like Kraven's dad's the one that actually sold him out? Instead, you could have had the dad realize it was his son that did it. Because he's like, "I heard the voicemail, Dad." And it could have just, like, had him be the one that gave them the picture, but have him call somebody and pretend to be his dad and go, "Deliver the package here." What, you know what I mean? Like, set up his brother. And have the dad realize it before Kraven kills him with the bear. When he's like, "Yeah, they said you called him on the phone and said this." And that's when the dad realizes, "My son set me up." And actually kind of have him be proud. Because he's like, "My son is a man." Like, if that's the theme.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Yeah, he could have looked, had a surprised look in his eye, and then suddenly kind of smirked like, "Huh.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch did it."
Yeah. And then he could be resigned to the fact that Kraven's going to kill him with a bear, you know, but just still be proud of, and like, Kraven can interpret it as my dad's proud of me for standing up to him and all this other stuff, when in all actuality, he's actually proud of his other son. We're ultimately being the one that pulled the strings to kill him.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
It would have been like one of those things of like, oh, they at least did one nice thing at the end of this movie. That's nice. They didn't end it on a bunch of bullshit. They at least ended it on a nice thing. One singular nice moment in this whole movie.
Right.
Like, it wouldn't have fixed anything, but it just would have been better. Like,
Yeah,
it just would have been a negative 2,000.
Like an infinitely more fun twist, because like if he was already the chameleon and you already had a plot point in the story where Kraven left them for a while to pursue his own path and be in the woods and grow up and make his house there and do all of that stuff. So all this time had passed. He could have already become the chameleon and resented his father and resented his brother because of all this shit. And maybe the whole plan was for both of them to wind up dead somehow. And when certain things didn't work, when it didn't work out with Rhino and Foreigner, it could have been some really cool shit, man. He could have been manipulating everybody, got himself captured, but really he could have escaped the whole time. You know, there could have been all these little things you could have done with him being the chameleon, man. Like, or he pretends to be someone who's already dead. You could have done so much cool shit with the chameleon.
You could have had him impersonate the Rhino, and that's actually why he got kidnapped and all kinds of shit. It works better with him being the chameleon if he is the mastermind behind everything.
Yeah, it just works so much. And then that's what Kraven finds out. Oh man, it was my brother the whole time. You know, he resented me and my father. He set up my dad. So then maybe at the end, when his father writes him this and he puts on the jacket, maybe then it's a little more justified. Maybe he finds out, oh shit, you know, really my dad tried to change, but then the chameleon killed him and acted like he was my dad. Whatever. But why didn't we do that? Why didn't we do something cool like that? Like, WTF?
I think this movie, the whole movie works better if Russell Crowe's at the beginning of the movie and he's like, yeah, I'm Russian dad. And the rest of the movie, you just hear him on phone calls and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it turns out the chameleon killed him like 3 years ago. And he's just been running the criminal organization as his dad.
Dude.
That's at least interesting. Like, I don't think you're ever really going to truly save this movie.
No.
The only way, and I've really thought about this, because we're recording later in the week, I've had a lot of time to really think about how I would fix Kraven. And I came to the conclusion that the only way to really fix this movie is when you're in the pitch meeting and the guy says, hey guys, what if we do Kraven, but without Spider-Man? You have to stand up and then punch that guy in the face and then never make the movie.
Problem solved.
Like, that's how you fix Kraven.
Yes.
But you at least could have done less shitty. And, you know, like I said, you do this whole plot where it's the chameleons actually imitating the dad and doing all this other stuff. Would that have made a good movie? No. Would it have been at least somewhat interesting and just less mind-numbingly horrendous to watch? Yeah. I might say it's a middle-of-the-pack Sony villain movie. I'm not going to be debating if Borderlands is worse than it or not.
Exactly.
I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, yeah, it was a bad movie. Okay. But there
might even walked out and said, you know what? It's better than some of the last few.
Yeah. Better than Morbius, better than Madam Web. not the worst thing I've seen all year. Maybe on par with Venom 2, I guess. You know, like at least something.
Yeah.
Rave reviews on this.
Just think about if that was the quotes on the poster. I guess as good as Venom 2. Better than Morbius.
Not the worst movie I've seen.
Not the worst thing I've seen all year. I'm not going to be debating on what's worse, Borderlands or this. Like, you know what? Like, at least it's something. At least you could have left the theater going, I guess they kind of tried.
Yeah.
You know, like, at least this movie would have been something other than an advertisement for 2 scenes with Aaron Taylor Johnson's abs.
Right.
Because that's all this movie was. It was a beginning abs, ending abs. That's it. This is technically a 2-hour movie sandwiched in between ab shots.
I mean, and because of the just incredibly low score of this on Rotten Tomatoes, I was curious about the top critics that like actually gave it a decent review. And like one of them says, if you turn off your cinephile spider sense and just go with the flow, the film can offer a very entertaining experience.
Oh, so he just did a bunch of coke. Just say that. Just say, hey, mainline a bunch of coke and then watch the movie. It's not that bad, I guess. Just say that.
Yeah.
Another guy said, don't believe the bad buzz. This comic book adaptation is a goofy delight. But it's not goofy.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so
like
that guy's
goofy.
just never seen another movie.
Was he maybe the guy in your theater laughing?
He's the guy that laughed at that joke.
He's just delighted by it. It's so funny. Yeah.
You go to his movie reviews, just every single one of them's positive. He's like, guys, we're alive. Everything's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and this guy, he was very passionate about this. Has everyone forgotten these are comic book movies? I guess I read a different era. Its predictability is killer, but with daddy issues. Brother versus brother, a mysterious villain, and Ariana DeBose not singing and dancing. It has the heart of a lion, literally. What?
I'm sick and tired of that. I'm sick and tired of people going, but it's a comic book movie. What do you expect? I've seen some good comic book movies. That's what I expect.
That's what we expect.
I've read some really good comics. That's what I expect. Don't give me the equivalent of a Rob Liefeld like foot fetish thing and go, but it's comics. Like, no. And also, this movie isn't brother versus brother. That's what we're saying the problem is. We're saying it would have been better if it was brother versus brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like his review was very misleading.
I think that guy didn't see the movie.
He saw the trailer.
If you're saying this is a brother v. brother movie, I don't think you actually watched Kraven.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did this guy watch Mufasa and think it was Kraven?
He's at the wrong theater. Brother versus brother, killer and predictable. But yeah, this is probably the Mufasa review.
Well, I mean, those are accurate. It's predictable.
With daddy issues.
And it's a killer movie. Not in the good way. Like, I would not be surprised if this movie does have a body count.
But the thing is, everything he's saying is good about it is not. Because he says its predictability is killer, but with daddy issues, brother versus brother, a mysterious villain, which it is not, and Ariana DeBose, who he called Adriana DeBose, not singing and dancing. I don't understand why these are good things. Like, I don't know. But then there was somebody else.
So wait, what is that? Who sits there and goes, hey, somebody that's an incredibly talented singer and dancer, I love it when they don't do what they're extremely talented in.
This is what I'm saying.
Does this movie, does this guy go watch Meryl Streep in a movie and goes, you know what? I'm really tired of seeing her act. Has she tried not acting in a movie?
Right. I feel like he just wanted to say the line of "it has the heart of a lion." I think that's his only point he wanted to make in his review. You know what? This has to be from Mufasa. This has to be.
That's what I'm saying. This man watched Mufasa.
Every bit of it sounds exactly like a Mufasa review too. Mysterious villain, brother versus brother.
Yeah.
Heart of a lion.
He watched Mufasa.
God, it does.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Another guy said, it turns out to be a spectacular action and character-driven performance from Aaron Taylor Johnson and some tight, exciting filmmaking from the director.
Hey, this movie is 2 hours and 9 minutes long. There's nothing tight about it. It is one of the loosest movies I've ever seen. 2, name a single thing action-wise in this movie that you haven't seen in any other action film in the last 20 years.
Well,
I mean, come on, guys.
I mean, and the one that probably to get you most irritated says, there's a solid action thriller buried within Kraven the Hunter's heart. It's easily the best of the Sony non-Spider-Man films so far. It's a low bar. And with a little more restraint, it could have brought out.
Did he bold the word buried? Because that's probably the most accurate thing he said, that there's a movie buried in here somewhere, I guess. Like, I guess that's accurate. There's a movie here, I guess. It's buried under a bunch of bullshit, but it's there.
I mean, he gave it a 7 of 10. I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A 7 of 10?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe a 7 out of 1,000. I'd get, maybe. 7 out of 10? Does he not know that that's the equivalent of a 70? Like, that is the equivalent of a passing grade? Like, that is what you would call average? Like, if those were his grades in college, it would get a degree. I have never wanted to be a part of Rotten Tomatoes less in my life. And these are top critics?
Yeah, some of them might have, there's a few in there that might have just been critics, but 2 of them were like top critics.
I want to do a change.org position and make the president have to acknowledge that these people should be fired from Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think it would be that hard to get 1,000 signatures, except 1,000 people didn't watch this movie, so maybe it might be a little difficult.
I'm also confused why people think this movie was funny. Because this other guy is like entertaining, violence with no slack on brutality, jaw-dropping in every sense. While the plot isn't airtight, unexpected comedic moments hit surprisingly well. That was the guy in your theater.
Let's be honest. There's not a single joke in this movie. And can people quit saying if a fight scene has blood in it that it's brutal? I mean, is this man watching John Wick and just saying it is the most brutal and violent thing he's ever seen in existence? Because, like, those are fight sequences I would call brutal. Because there's a sense of realism. There's a sense of definitiveness to them. This is just the most cookie-cutter action sequences you've seen with CGI blood added to them 9 months after they filmed it. Maybe we'll get a good movie. I mean, I also can't think of a movie that is just more like the epitome of what it is. Like, this is the epitome of the Sony Spider-Man universe. Just hey guys, we're going to give you a bunch of shit that desperately needs Spider-Man with no Spider-Man. I mean, I don't know, guys. I'm still confused by that one guy that watched Mufasa and thought it was Kraven. Just that you can't sit there and tell me it's a brother versus brother movie. It's not. Did this guy, like, he either watched Mufasa and thought it was Kraven, or he only saw the last 30 seconds of the movie. Those are the only two things. Like, he might have watched the beginning and then fell asleep right before Kraven left, and then woke up at the end when the gut brother's like, "You're just like Dad. You're just like Papa." And went, "Man, this brother versus brother movie." No wonder he thought it was like a tight, action-packed movie. He saw the beginning and the end and slept through the 2 hours of bullshit in between. He was like, "Man, that's real tight. It only felt like 9 minutes long." What is this review you just sent us, Heather?
Just another, like, more positive review from a critic that I just thought was funny.
You're going to read this out loud.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. It says, instead of the Kraven you know and loathe, you get the swaggering pelvic thrusts of Aaron Taylor Johnson posing as every mammal in the animal kingdom as he sadistically murders enemies while chewing up scenery like it's his job. And this is a compliment.
Just say you masturbate to Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Wow.
But I'm like, how are these, like, the way he's describing it all doesn't sound like it is compliments. But
just say
okay.
you want to fuck the man. Don't dress it up like you're something.
Yeah, what was all of that dress up?
Just say you want to fuck the man. Just be honest. Just go, "Man, this movie is horseshit, but God, I want to fuck Aaron Taylor Johnson." Fair, okay. Fair enough.
I feel like that's probably the sentiment of anybody who, like, actually wanted to go see this movie, like, enthusiastically. That was probably their reason.
If you watched Kraven and you came to me afterwards and you went, "Sterling, it's a real bad movie, but I really want to fuck Aaron Taylor Johnson," I'd go, "Fair enough."
Just a sexual Pompeii, you know?
I'd be like, sounds like you got a real Vesuvius on your hands right there.
Yeah.
But I would never fault you for that. I'd be like, okay, that's fair, I guess. That's not my take. I mean, this movie is less sexy than Showgirls, but still, I mean, I guess, teach their own. We'll be sex positive here. But just say it. Don't sit there and go, "Oh, he was chewing up scenery." No, he wasn't. Chewing up scenery implies that he was overacting, which would imply that he was acting. Come on. You want to see a man chew up scenery? Go watch Jeremy Irons in the original D&D movie. Oh, that's chewing scenery, motherfucker. That's overacting as a compliment. Because this man went, "Not a single other person in this movie is acting. I will act enough for every other cast member in this fucking film." That's acting. He's just standing around shirtless. He's not acting. You stop it. I mean, why can't people just be more honest with themselves and everybody else? You know what? I'm going to say something controversial, guys. Jennifer Love Hewitt is not a good actress. But she's insanely attractive, and I will watch anything she's in. Honesty. That's all. Just be honest. This is 2024. Why do we have to act like things anymore? I thought as a society we're more sex positive. That's gross. He said acting. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I don't know if Aaron Taylor Johnson's a good actor.
I mean, the handful of things I've seen him in, it's hard to tell. I don't know. I liked him in Bullet Train, but that was the only thing I could be like, okay, I get it, you know.
No, that movie sucks, bro.
I never saw it.
I mean,
Is that the one with Brad Pitt?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I never saw it.
Well, I think his dynamic with Brian Tyree Henry is good. You know, it's the best part of the movie.
All I heard is Brian Tyree Henry's good.
And that's also valid, so that's fine.
Anybody can have good chemistry with that man. He's fantastic.
I love him. He's great.
One of the few shining lights in Eternals.
This is true. Yeah. And that, was it the Kong Skull Island movie?
No.
No.
He did Godzilla
No,
v Kong. Or,
Godzilla. That's the one I meant,
Yeah.
actually. This last one we saw. Yeah.
he's in two of them.
The podcaster guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He tried. I remember us talking about it. We're like, he tried to make that movie something better. Just unfortunately, he wasn't successful.
See, and that's my point. So, I mean, but what is the difference from this movie and what he did in Fall Guy? He's just abs. And don't get me wrong, they are spectacular abs. He did a very incredible job at somehow ultra defining each ab. I kind of feel like he might put some makeup on there to make them that defined, because I don't think the human body can actually define abs as strongly as Aaron Taylor Johnson makes it seem. But also, what did he do?
I mean, and also like I didn't realize like how many movies he's in coming up too. Like he's going to be in the 28 Years Later, and isn't he in Nosferatu?
He is in Nosferatu. He's in a movie coming up that we're doing.
Yeah, he's everywhere right now.
Might
And
be
someone else that's everywhere right now
Might be Bond.
might be Bond. Yeah. Also, Jack Quaid is everywhere right now. I'm fine
Jack
with
Quaid
that.
is in so many movies coming up.
I kind of am here for that, but because I actually think that he's a good actor. I think he can handle it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
See, that trailer. Did you see the trailer for Novocaine, Jastin?
Novocaine?
Yeah.
No.
There's a movie called Novocaine coming out. That movie looks like it's going to have some brutal fight sequences in it. And that's just based on the trailer. Not this movie. So, anyway, guys, can we be done? Can I never think of
Yes.
Kraven again, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, guys, how the fuck did we go for almost 3 hours? And I was like, oh yeah, I drug the intro out for an hour. I'm sorry, everybody. I really am. If you want, just listen to the first hour. It's fine. You won't offend me. But on that note, thank you guys for listening to the Cinema Slayers podcast. Check us out on the internet, www.cinemaslayers.com. Check us out on the Facebook at Cinema Slayers Podcast. Check us out on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at cinema_slayers. Check us out on TikTok for just only the near future, because that might be disappearing. Hey, TikTok people, tell me where the fuck we're going. What's the replacement for TikTok? I don't know yet. We've got less than a month, people. I need to know where the fuck I am going to feed my ADHD brain. So let's figure that out. But But yeah, TikTok, YouTube at CinemaSlayersPod. And we're also the Blue Sky, CinemaSlayersPod.bksky.social, all that fun craziness. So we replaced Twitter, but we need the TikTok replacement. Let's get it together, guys. We here at the Cinema Slayers podcast are pro slut, pro Sydney, and pro naked. On a personal level, I am pro Jennifer Love Hewitt. I won't speak for everybody. Speak for myself.
I'm on board with it.
Now I'm just thinking of Jennifer Love Hewitt. Anyway, justice for Chris, justice for Todd, justice for all those wonderful stunt people out there. Justice for all those wonderful animators out there. Without them and all the wonderful things they do, a lot of movies would suck. So, justice to all those people. Give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd really appreciate it. Really help us out. Shout out to Plug Me, going into a show for our theme song and logo respectively. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your friends' family, tell your family's friends, and most of all, tell those dear sweet mothers, because dear sweet mothers love.
I mean, I guess Russell Crowe.
Yeah, that one review said daddy. So, mothers love Daddy Crow.
Right?
And I was in the TikToks, the YouTube videos, and most importantly, this podcast. Just remember, according to Jastin, Moon Knight would probably never eat chestnuts.
A little curve in there. Curveball. Or I guess a chestnut ball. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore.
I will say this. That's one of the things I'm the most excited about. Is our new segment, Justin's Chestnut Review.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
I can finally do what the song says. This will be interesting.
You know what? And I did forget this, and I really should have said this at the beginning. There's been some updates in the Jay-Z P. Diddy lawsuit. The complaining witness, especially with the additions of Jay-Z, those are looking to be potentially fabricated. I can't say of anything definitive at the moment. It's just looking like the exact moments in which that she is claiming that Jay-Z was participating in the aforementioned Diddy parties that led to her being sexually assaulted by him. He was just other places. One of the times he was in the middle of the country on tour with someone else, not in New York. And another time was he was, widely known to be at a different VMA after party than the one she's claiming he was at. Like evidence, and people know, and photographers of him at a completely different place than where she was saying he was at. So that is looking to be a little bit more unsubstantiated than other things. Which goes into what we said last week with it. That doesn't mean that Jay-Z was actually involved in things. But like I said, that still doesn't mean that we're not going to find out more about other things and other people. That was one of the things that I wanted to mainly point out more than anything is, there's less evidence or, whatever of Jay-Z's involvement, at least with that. But who knows? Because we don't have that much information yet, because it hasn't gone to court yet. There's going to be more people. There's going to be more information. There's going to be more everything. And until it at least gets to court, it's mainly going to be speculation. Unless the FBI actively charges more people. If any of that happens before the trial, okay, then we do get slightly more definitive answers with it. But until the court case itself, a lot of it really is rumor and speculation. Because that's when you're going to get facts with it. That's when you're going to get what the feds have. And that's when you're going to get Sean P. Diddy Combs throwing people under the bus to save himself.
Yeah.
That's when all that happens. If he knows he's losing the court case, that's when shit goes scorched earth. I think if he feels like he legitimately has a reasonable belief to be found innocent, that's when he might not scorch earth. Because why burn the bridges if you're going to get off? If you're going to get out free. But if it's going bad, that's when he probably goes scorched earth. Because that's when it becomes, if I'm going down, you're going down too.
Yep.
And I think that's why, at least from his side, we haven't heard anything yet. Because I haven't gone to trial yet. He doesn't know what ammunition to bring yet. But yeah, so far, the Jay-Z thing is looking to be more potentiality of being false. But, that's also why a lot of speculation was always been on Jay-Z with some of this stuff, though, is because he has been a known associate with P. Diddy for a very long time. So that's always going to be the tough ones. Because when that's your boy, it's going to be, it becomes more of a stretch to believe you didn't know. Especially when so many other people did know.
Right.
When the person's one of your best friends, and you're like, I didn't know that my best friend is throwing wild sex parties that everyone else knew about. That's when, it does, that's where it gets tough to believe. But like I said, there's evidence showing that the specific dates and times that this woman is claiming that Jay-Z did stuff, it would be more or less theoretically impossible to have done it. So, that just ties into, just like I said, something we specifically talked about. And I wanted to update that. There's a change. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Want to be fair to, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Jaguar Wright, one of the number one accusers of Jay-Z, since all this stuff started breaking out, she's been starting to backtrack like a motherfucker. I think she got hit with a lawsuit because she's now running around. She was on every podcast and radio show that would have her claiming that Jay-Z and Beyonce are going down next because they knowingly did all this other stuff. And now she's running around going, guys, I never said that once. So I think she got hit with a lawsuit and they're going, prove it. And if she don't got no proof, then, that becomes defamation. That becomes slander, because you have to be able to prove that you did not know it wasn't true. And, then it's one of the sad things is it could be very much true, but just because she doesn't have evidence of it, and if it doesn't come out in any trials or anything like that, then, she's got no proof.
Yeah.
And it becomes bad. But, oh no. I really just do think we're at the tip of the iceberg, though. There's going to be something. We're all waiting for it. At least one name that's going to catch everybody off guard.
Yeah, I could see it.
And probably a bunch of names people won't be surprised about. I mean, I'm just saying. I won't get into some of the speculation I have, but we'll see. We'll see. We got a lot of time. But anyway, anything else? You guys got anything else?
No.
You Kravened out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did find this episode a little weird, Jastin, because before we started recording, you were talking about this was your favorite movie you've ever seen.
Oh, or was I?
And then we started filming, and then all of a sudden you
change it up.
I'm just kidding, everybody. That was Heather.
Yeah, that's true.
Like behind the scenes. So last week, Jastin and I were like, hey, let's not do Kraven. It's going to be real bad. And Heather was just adamant that we did it.
You know me, my love for superhero villains movies.
It's fine. Like I said, just be honest. You were craving some Aaron Taylor Johnson abs.
You know, but the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could just buy a poster. It's fine if that's what I wanted.
Is that why you were sending us pictures of your cardboard cutout of him from Kraven? I mean, I thought it was very weird because it was him in the chair at the end of the movie. I'm just surprised you were able to get merchandise like that so quick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Kraven Fan Club gets early access to that kind of stuff. So,
what's the name of that club? The Kraven Cravers?
Yep. That's it.
Are you the Queen Kraven?
That is correct.
Do you end all your newsletters with keep craving that Kraven?
These are all good ideas. I feel like you should actually start this and be like, somebody take this idea.
No, because it's a terrible idea. You're just blinded by the abs. You're just proving my point.
The concept is good.
Can't believe you just said the concept of Kraven's good. Anyway, I'm out. Let's end this shenanigan.